Hey guys, MichaelBtheGameGenie. On today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the iiRcade Gold Edition that was recently released from iiRcade. It's the next revision in the iiRcade family of arcade consoles. It came out at an initial price point of $9.99, but for a limited time till the end of May, it's on sale for $7.99. So we're going to take a look at the cabinet and ask the question, should you buy it? So that's right guys, on today's video we're going to be taking a little bit more of an analytical look at the iiRcade Gold Edition that was recently released from iiRcade and find out if this is something you should consider picking up. First off, I want to say thank you so much for checking out the video today. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. If this is your first time to the channel, do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell for notifications if you are so inclined. So anyways, let's get started and talk about the iiRcade Gold Edition. This was announced just a couple weeks back from iiRcade. I meant to do this video sooner, but kind of had a baby, so didn't really have time to make it, so I'm catching up now. So going back to not last Friday, but the Friday before, iiRcade finally unveiled their version 2, or as Michael calls it, the version 1.4, now known as the iiRcade Gold Edition, in 4 different models that you could pick up. We have the Double Dragon or Black Edition, Dragon's Lair, which is a remake of the original. These were the 2 first premium cabinets out from iiRcade, so it's nice to see them come back and show them in the Gold Edition as well as 2 brand new cabinets. Of course, we've got for the first time ever the Dead Cells branding, which is not an arcade game, but it's an absolutely beautiful cabinet, probably the nicest one they're releasing this time in my opinion, and also the Space Invaders cabinet, which I absolutely love because it's the first time iiRcade is actually recreating classic arcade art. For people that have wanted a more traditional cabinet from iiRcade, that's what you're getting here. But it's not the art that we're really talking about here, it's the new form factor that's really of interest and is pushing sales on this cabinet. So guys, as you can see, here are the 4 cabinets that we discussed in the last section. We've got your Double Dragon, Dead Cells, Dragon Lair, and Space Invaders. As you can see, the price point on these cabinets is $999 US. However, for a limited time period, these were announced on April 8th, going 30 days till May 8th. You can get them for an initial purchase price of saving $200 for $799.99. So, you have a limited time to think about it, and the tax for not making up your mind and rushing to buy these is an additional $200. So, you want to make up your mind soon if you're going to pick up an iiRcade Gold Edition. So guys, as you can see, there are a few changes that need to be addressed by the Gold Edition. There were a lot of people that were upset with the initial iiRcade that it didn't look like a traditional North American arcade cabinet, more like a Japanese candy cab, and it didn't feature a light-up marquee. So as you can see here, they've put in a more traditional form factor and included a light-up marquee to the cabinet to appease those people. Going down, we've also got new JBL audios included, and this is also with the Gold Editions. These are going to be like the premium 128 gigabytes and the updated arcade quality controls. So guys, for the first time ever since we've been doing these should you buy videos, this one's a little bit more complicated than everything else we've done because there are in fact variables. It's not a simple solution of a brand new product and you're asking should you buy it, let alone on its old merits, but there's different levels of buyers here. For one, you've got people that have never ever owned an iiRcade before, so we have to play to what those strengths are and if this would be a good first entry point into the iiRcade family for them. Then you're going to factor in the fact that there's people out there with iiRcade cabinets already, and are they going to upgrade for these cabinets? And then there's 2 levels of those people. There's people like me that just have the base unit where you're going to get added value with the Gold Edition above and beyond. And then there's people with the premium cabinets, the ones that had the SAMWA control sticks and the 128 gigabytes, and maybe they're getting a little bit less value with the upgrade. So let's dig into it, sink our teeth into it, and figure out whether or not you should buy. And realistically, you guys know why I do these videos. I'm trying to contemplate in my own head whether or not I should buy the iiRcade Gold Edition. First up, let's talk about the iiRcade Gold Edition as an option for new owners. The iiRcade is an awesome multi-cade product that allows you to add apps or additional games, much like you would with any iPad, device, or whatever way you're going to play your games. You can keep adding games to it and play the awesome games that it comes with. The machine is definitely in the home arcade space one of the best built pieces of tech out there, with even the base model with the more junkier controls, I guess you would call them, being miles above and beyond what the other companies are doing. This is by far the best product in terms of quality out of the three big home arcades in the space. The only question on is if the games work for you and if the games are included. So if you're interested in getting into the iiRcade, maybe the Gold Edition is the best place for you to start. So what if you're also a person that has interest in the iiRcade, but you just never liked the look of the original cabinet? Now may be the perfect time for you to jump in. You've got a more traditional North American arcade style design here, with the longer neck, with the light up marquee underneath, with the speakers at a tilted angle above the screen. This is more in line with what you would see from a traditional cabinet. So if it was the look of the iiRcade that originally turned you away from buying the product, maybe this can change your mind. But if the look isn't the reason that you haven't purchased an iiRcade in the past, and it's just you've never bought one and you're interested in getting into it, and you're looking to possibly save a couple dollars, there are other options out there. Like, for example, if you check out the Brick here in Canada, you can get into the iiRcade at a very low price point. So, for example, if you don't really need arcade level controls, you don't need a ton of memory with the system, you can actually purchase the original iiRcade base model, which I have and I think looks pretty goddamn good, for $499.99 Canadian. That is an awesome steal. I don't know what it works out to Canadian, like American, like $350, but that will give you the base components, that will give you the actual base the cabinet goes on, everything, and you can play your iiRcade for a fraction of the price of the gold. But say, for example, you want something with a little bit more jazzier art, you are looking for better controls, and you are looking for more additional memory, you can also pick up one of these, either the Dragon's Lair or the Retromania Wrestling iiRcade cabinets from the Brick as well, for $749.99 Canadian, which works out to about $500 US, I think, somewhere between $399 and $499. That would be my guess off the top of my head. So if you go into one of these cabinets, I mean, you're getting your upgraded Samwa controls, you're getting the additional memory, you're getting beautiful art on the cabinet. The cabinet looks awesome. Great job on this. So you can pick up a brand new Retromania Wrestling cabinet with some of the bells and whistles of the iiRcade right there for $749, as compared to, even if you're in Canada, buying the iiRcade through iiRcade, the Gold Edition, at $799 at the additional price, will cost you over $1,000 Canadian. So, you know, there are options out there if you're not necessarily just in it for the look of the cabinet. But what if you already have an iiRcade? Like, you're a guy like me and you have an iiRcade. As you can see in the background, I'm actually having a wee little bit of problem with my iiRcade right now. It's doing this weird thing where the screen just completely shuts off and I have to completely power cycle the cabinet, like actually unplug it to get it to turn back on. So maybe I am in the maybe I am in the market for getting a new iiRcade, since mine is kind of stopped working. But anyways, say for example you're in my position and you have an iiRcade already. Is it worth your while to update to the Gold Edition? I know that Michael from iiRcade was on my buddy P-Dub's show last night, Multicade Mondays, and they talked about who are the cabinets for, and he made a good point about this too, exactly the same. It all depends on who these cabinets are for, and should you upgrade. So if you guys want to go check out that, you definitely should, because he gives some really good insight, and we're going to cover some of the exact same stuff right here today. But some people are stating the only reason to upgrade is for some cosmetic changes, and especially with that price point compared to you already having a cabinet or you bought a cabinet on sale, it seems like a drastic increase. Is it worth it just for the lit up marquee and the JBL audio and the new form factor? Well, there's other things included as well. So if you have the base level model like me, you're going to be improving your control panel, you're going to be getting better controls, and also, I don't know if there's a good image of the actual control deck here. Let's see if I can find one. I really hope I can, because there's also a change with the power button. One of the things I really don't like, there it is. One of the things I really don't like about my iiRcade, and I mentioned in my initial review, is with the power button, it's an actual press button, and you had to hold down on it to identify whether or not the cabinet's going to come on. You really have no idea whether it's going to come off or not. And in more modern models of the iiRcade, and especially now with the Gold Edition, it has this outside ring with an LED strip as well that will actually notify you when the cabinet comes on. So that's an additional upgrade that I think adds a lot of value, to be honest. So maybe that doesn't seem like a ton of value or a big reason to upgrade at this point, but there may be more. In fact, there may be some changes from the initial cabinet to the more modern cabinet that do more than cosmetic or a little bit ergonomic, a little bit better controls. Maybe there are actually performance upgrades as well with the cabinet. So I saw this post on the Facebook page a little while back talking about the actual difference from the original iiRcade to this one. People were saying, how do you justify the price increase? Why would I consider upgrading? And someone reached out to support to ask for specific information. And of course, Drew with iiRcade is an absolute superstar, one of the best customer support teams in the business. They answered and gave some awesome feedback. The difference with the gold design, obviously, it's a new design. There's a new look aesthetically. Some of the things we've already covered, but there's also some functional changes inside the cabinet that make this a little bit better. So the motherboard used to be located directly in the control panel or the control box, which used to be a big problem because if you ever wanted to play around with the control panel itself, like say you wanted to change out controls, you were in fact voiding your warranty. There was a big no-no about opening up the control panel because you could mess up where the overall motherboard, PCB, whatever you want to call it, is. In this model, they've actually moved that away from the control panel. I don't know if you can actually do mods with it, but it's in a different place. There's a functional reason for that as well, because they're concerned, as we know, most people associate playing arcades with drinking beer and drinking other beverages. I like to drink coffee when I play it, and it would be an absolute nightmare to spill your coffee in that control panel and then fry the motherboard. So they've moved it to another place in the arcade to make it functionally safer. On top of that, there was also some kind of issue with the speaker that they talk about here, that since our original cabinet had speaker with a hissing noise coming from the speaker, they moved it away from any metal material so it's clear from the sound issue. So, you've got these two functional changes included as well that will improve the overall experience. But at the end of the day, the biggest argument on whether or not you wanted to buy this or buy the old one, or whether or not you already have the old one and want to consider upgrading, is, can I play the same games? And the answer right now is, yeah, going forward, and right now, it's the same hardware in both machines. So any game that's available for the iiRcade is going to be available for the iiRcade Gold Edition, and vice versa. So you can't really play any new games on it, right? Well, going back to Michael's appearance on Multicade Monday last night, they did tease that there may be a way to play new games on the Gold Edition that you might not be able to play on the standard cabinet. Now, I don't know exactly what this means. Does it mean that there's additional games that could be played, or maybe additional ways to play games? It's been a lot of speculation where they've moved the motherboard out of the control panel that there might be the ability for modding. I know 19K Fox mentioned in his video on why he bought the iiRcade Gold Edition, that's one of the reasons he picked it up, is for the modding potential. But there's also some kind of hook about some kind of slot where you can attach something in to this cabinet to play something a little bit differently. And it leads me to another conclusion. As some of you may be aware, one of the godfathers of the arcade gaming world is Glenn Planamento. And as we know, Glenn, for years, has been making amazing arcade products that work with Arcade 1-Up products, work with That Game products, and for the last little while has been in communication with Jung and the team at iiRcade, working potentially on products for them. So maybe with the launch of the iiRcade Gold Edition and where they've moved the motherboard out of the control panel, maybe they've worked in a way to come up with some awesome arcade peripherals from Glenn's Retro Show, not just his Thundersticks, but from the Glenn's Retro Show family of products, where you can in fact add them to your iiRcade as either external peripherals, or maybe there's something that can be attached to the cabinet, something like that. So maybe there's a trackball accessory, maybe there's a driving wheel accessory, maybe there's some kind of accessory that can be added on to the iiRcade Gold Edition that can't be added on to the standard iiRcade cabinet going forward, that'll change the way you play games on the cabinet. That would be very cool for iiRcade and very cool for our good buddy Glenn Planamento. So guys, that's kind of all the information I've pulled together yet. I don't know where I stand. I mean, I'm kind of in a weird place. I have an iiRcade already that I got years ago as a demo from iiRcade Review. I absolutely fell in love with it. I have invested more money into it by going out and getting the tempered screen protector. I paid for myself. I bought a bunch of games for it, and in fact bought like all the online games there the other night from the store, so I can do a live stream sometime this week playing the online games and showing you how that works. But I also have to admit, I'm also a huge iiRcade fan and supporter. Obviously, I like the cabinet, despite the fact that it's a little broken right now. And I like Jung. I've been in communication with Jung. I've done shows with him. He sent me out this shirt. You know, the company has been good to me as well, so I've got to throw that out there. I don't know where I stand. I have an iiRcade already. I really like the Gold Edition. I'm really tempted. But I've got to look at it from a perspective. I already have an iiRcade, if it works again. And I'm also going to be... I've got a good buddy, my friend Mike Dalton, who not only has one iiRcade Gold Edition ordered, he has Space Invaders. He told me that by the end of the month, he's also going to pick up the Dead Cells cabinet as well. So in terms of YouTube, if I want to review it, I don't need to buy this myself. I can just go down to his place and kind of, pick through it and give you a review video filmed at his place and tell you what I think of the cabinet. So it's hard for me on return on investment. I can't think of a reason to get it other than I just really want it. And I'm kind of talking through this and kind of trying to figure out if I want to buy it and get your opinions on what I should do, and also hear your feedback. If you're going to pick up the iiRcade Gold Edition, if this is something you're interested in, did the things that I mentioned to you about the cabinet give you a direction one way or another? At the end of the day, some people aren't going to care about hardware, they aren't going to care about specifics, they aren't going to care about what else it does. They're only going to want to hear about the games, and that's one thing that I can't really cover here. You got to go take a look at the game library yourself and figure out what's going to happen going forward, what they have, and hopefully where they'll be. I love iiRcade. I don't know what I'm going to do here. A lot of it's going to depend on if my base model back there starts working again, I'm going to be honest. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that I should buy the iiRcade Gold Edition? And if so, which one should I pick up? I'm leaning towards Dead Cells right now. I think that's the prettiest one of the bunch. Let me know in the comments what you think of the iiRcade Gold Edition. Is this something you're considering picking up? And if so, why and what one are you getting? Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching today. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time. For this product, it's not like when a new Arcade 1-Up cabinet comes out and you decide, am I going to buy it based on whether or not I want it or not? I mean,
I'm going to make her a ham sandwich and stuff for lunch. So, keeps her from down in her and have feelings.
No, I'm trying to record a video. You're now live on it. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Show him Thomas. Hey, there's Thomas and my beautiful wife.
And hi.
And beautiful Scarlet.